Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that digs into the surprising links between seemingly impossible ideas. Today, we're kicking things off with a premise that might just, well, blow your mind a bit. What if ancient philosophies, developed thousands of years ago, actually held keys to understanding cutting-edge modern science? We're talking everything from AI in medicine to the fundamental laws of physics.
Yeah, it's more than just a thought experiment. These ancient frameworks, they could be surprisingly insightful blueprints for our most advanced discoveries today.
I find that absolutely fascinating. So our mission today, our deep dive, is to embark on this extraordinary journey, exploring the convergence of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, and the philosophical bedrock of Taoism, and then connecting that to the realms of artificial intelligence and theoretical physics. It sounds like a lot, I know.
It does. We've pulled together some fascinating insights, research on AI and TCM, explorations into Taoisms, mathematical links to modern physics, even guides to ancient Chinese mathematics and Feng Shui.
Wow. So what's truly compelling then? Is it how these diverse sources kind of start to speak a common language?
Exactly. Sources separated by millennia. But when you look at them through the right analytical lens, they begin to connect. It really suggests a deeper underlying wisdom.
Okay, so get ready for some serious aha moments, folks, because we're going to unpack how ancient wisdom isn't just surviving, it's actually thriving, evolving with the most advanced technologies of our time. This isn't just a history lesson, right? It's a look at how thousands of years of human observation might be speaking the very same language as our most sophisticated algorithm.
Precisely, where observation meets computation.
Okay, let's dive into our first big topic then. AI meeting ancient healing. The revolution in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, TCM, just as a quick reminder, is this holistic medical system over 2,000 years of empirical support, deeply rooted in Chinese philosophy, understanding the body's relationship with nature.
And its core diagnostic methods, inspection, auscultation, and olfaction, inquiry, palpation, they're highly experience-oriented. And let's be honest, quite subjective.
Yeah, that subjectivity can sometimes hinder its widespread adoption, can't it? Especially in, say, Western medicine.
This is exactly where AI steps in as a bridging force. By simulating human intelligence processes, AI can significantly improve the reliability, accuracy, and standardization of TCM diagnostics and treatments.
Okay, so reliability, accuracy, standardization. That's the goal.
Right. The core insight here is combining these, ancient healing practices with cutting-edge modern technology. The aim is systematic, effective, and truly accessible healthcare systems for everyone.
It's truly exciting to imagine AI augmenting ancient healing, but I'm curious, how exactly does this sophisticated tech start to unpack and enhance something as nuanced as TCM diagnostics, maybe starting with observation, inspection?
Excellent question. Let's start with inspection. This involves direct observation, right? Physical changes like a tongue's shape, size, color, texture, or even facial expressions. All of this aligns with yin and yang and the five-element theory in TCM.
Okay, so how does AI help there?
Well, AI enhances this using machine learning systems. They analyze tongue images, for instance, for syndrome differentiation, and often with greater accuracy than human eyes alone, or at least more consistency. Neural network-based systems can automate symptom analysis, access medical records for treatment insights, even help streamline prescriptions.
So it's providing objective, quantifiable data for what was a subjective art.
Exactly, promising unprecedented consistency and reliability. There are challenges, of course. Data quality, standardization, avoiding over-reliance on just one feature.
Right, you need the whole picture.
Precisely. Experts are working on robust data sets and multimodal information fusion combining different types of data.
Okay, so AI is literally seeing what a TCM doctor observes, but with a consistent data-driven eye. How about the more sensory stuff, like listening to body sounds or even assessing internal states through smell? Can AI really capture those subtle cues?
It's a challenge, but yes, it absolutely can. For auscultation and olfaction, advanced sensor technologies are key. Think digital stethoscopes coupled with AI algorithms. They can capture and filter bodily sounds, much like a sophisticated sound engineer.
And smell, that seems even harder.
For olfaction, yeah, it's complex. But AI odor monitoring systems are being developed. They use what are sometimes called odor maps and biomarker regions to quantify olfactory diagnosis, basically identifying volatile organic compound profiles linked to specific health conditions.
Wow, odor maps.
Yeah. The challenge, obviously, is developing high-accuracy sensors and algorithms capable of complex pattern recognition across diverse individuals. But the potential for early, non-invasive diagnosis is immense.
That's amazing, from seeing to smelling and hearing. And what about inquiry? Asking patients about their history, complaints, lifestyle, sleep, getting that holistic view. That feels such a human-centric part of medicine.
It is, absolutely. And AI enhances this through electronic health record analysis, EHR analysis, using natural language extraction techniques. Systems like Gatortron, which is a very powerful NLP model.
Gatortron, okay.
Yeah, it can identify TCM-specific symptoms like fatigue or dry mouth right from the doctor's notes or patient input. It can correlate them with potential organ imbalances and even help forecast disease progression.
So it's reading between the lines of the health record, essentially.
In a way, yes. Plus, smart wearables are collecting real-time data for more proactive care. The future focus now includes validating large language models, things like GPT 3.5 and GPT-4, for nuanced TCM terminology, and fine-tuning them specifically for TCM EHRs.
But does that raise questions, like can these models truly capture the subtleties of ancient diagnostic language without losing its holistic essence?
That's a critical question, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing area of research and ethical consideration.
Okay, and finally, palpation. Pulse diagnosis. Assessing the pulse at those specific risk positions, Kun, Guan, and Qi. Understanding health and organ states. There are like 29 recognized pulse types, right?
That always struck me as one of the most sort of mysterious and subjective parts of TCM.
It is traditionally, yes, and it's being transformed. AI is now using multi-point sensors and also photoplethysmographic pulse wave sensors.
The light-based ones, like in a smartwatch.
Exactly like those, yeah. Along with pressure sensors to quantify pulse waves. Then AI algorithms pre-process this data, filtering noise, normalizing it, and improve cross-device compatibility. Even non-contact techniques like polarized multispectral imaging are emerging.
So trying to make it objective.
That's the goal. The main challenges are still the historical subjectivity, the lack of universally objective standards, and frankly, the labor-intensive task of getting high-quality data labeling done by specialized TCM physicians.
That makes sense. It takes an expert to label expert data.
Precisely. But imagine the potential for standardized, verifiable pulse diagnosis worldwide. Okay, so that's diagnostics. But beyond that, AI is also making inroads into TCM treatments. Let's talk about Tuina massage. That hands-on manipulation to facilitate meridians, harmonize qi and blood, boost the immune system. That seems like it requires such a delicate human touch.
It does. And for Tuina, we're seeing the development of intelligent massage equipment and robotics. For example, there's the INA Expert Manipulative Automation Massager.
IMA, okay.
It uses sensor-based technology and machine learning, specifically convolutional neural networks for pattern recognition, to identify muscle tension and acupoints. It even adjusts the pressure in real time based on patient feedback.
Well, it tries to replicate the skill of a human practitioner.
That's the aim. But there are significant hurdles. Developing robot dexterity, ensuring precise acupoint positioning, maybe using 3D human body models and depth cameras, and, crucially, ensuring clinical effectiveness through standardized regulations and dealing with data privacy.
Right. Safety and effectiveness are key. And what about acupuncture? Stimulating acupoints to achieve de qi, that sensation of soreness or numbness. Another highly specialized technique.
Indeed. Research, including bibliometric studies which analyze academic publications, shows clear progress in AI's role here. AI can analyze patient data, interpret diagnostic patterns, and suggest effective acupoint selections.
So decision support for the acupuncturist.
Yes, and beyond that, acupuncture robots are being developed. They use ultrasound and mechanical sensors to control needle depth, speed, and force. The idea is standardized treatment. AI is also helping with learning and training through virtual and augmented reality platforms.
Interesting. What are the main roadblocks there?
The challenges include the lack of really robust, high-quality clinical evidence for some applications and still needing clear understanding of the exact mechanisms of how acupuncture works. Standardized protocols are definitely needed.
So after hearing about all these incredible advancements, what does this all mean for the big picture? For AI and TCM integration? It sounds like there are still some fundamental hurdles to overcome.
Absolutely. The main challenges are multifaceted. Data quality and availability, that's a big one. Bridging the gap between TCM expertise and AI expertise, getting those two worlds to really understand each other, and computationally interpreting abstract TCM theories like qi, yin-yang, the 5 elements. How do you translate that for an algorithm?
It seems like the core philosophical challenge, doesn't it?
It really is. Plus, The ethical and safety concerns, patient privacy, data security, algorithm transparency, making sure the AI isn't a black box. And of course, establishing clear regulatory frameworks for all these innovations.
It's truly remarkable how AI is bringing these ancient healing practices into the 21st century. It really is. But what if the very philosophical underpinnings of that ancient wisdom, like Taoism, what if they don't just apply to medicine? What if they actually resonate with the fundamental laws of the universe itself? Let's take a deep dive into that now. How ancient Chinese philosophy might be speaking the same language as modern physics. This is where it gets really mind-bending.
It really does. Taoism's central concept, the Tao, right? It's
Yep.
understood as the root of all things. And yin and yang are the basic tools for its interpretation. As the Book of Changes puts it, one yin and one yang. This is said to be Tao.
Simple yet profound.
And ancient mathematical principles are deeply embedded here. Think of Tao produces one, one produces two, two produces three, three produces all things. That's like a linear progression. Or Tai Chi produces two yis produce four shangs produce eight guas. That's an exponential progression, 20, 21, 22, 23. Like binary.
Okay, so building on that, what if physics itself is fundamentally a theory about yin and yang in nature? It sounds almost too simple, but consider this. Stationary is yin, motion is yang. Mass is yin, energy is yang. A particle is yin, a wave is yang. Positive charge is yin, negative charge is yang. Even dark matter is yin and regular matter is yang.
The dualities are everywhere in physics.
Exactly. The four major points of yin-yang theory, Tao produces them, they're companions, they're constantly changing, they generate all things. It seems to echo through physics. And get this, you can even quantify yin and yang through Schrödinger's equation in quantum mechanics. The real part of the wave function can be seen as yang, and the imaginary part is yin.
That's a fascinating mathematical parallel. And this connection to the bigger picture extends to the five elements, or waxing metal, wood, water, fire, earth. Each represents a fundamental quality or phase in the interact and predictable cycles. Generation and control. Wood feeds fire, fire creates earth, water controls fire, and so on.
Like a complex system of checks and balances.
Exactly. It's an intricate dynamic system, like a directed graph, mathematically speaking.
Yeah.
Astonishingly, some research suggests this system can be seen as a kind of quantum field theory, where these elements represent fundamental fields influencing everything.
A quantum field theory based on the five elements. Seriously.
Well, remarkably, this simple graph structure, particularly something called an X3 graph with a central time node, can be used to map out Maxwell's equations. You know, the foundational equations of classical electromagnetism, even things like the Lorentz force and angular momentum operators can apparently be illustrated with this X3 structure.
That's quite a leap. Connecting ancient elements to Maxwell's equations, is this more of a useful analogy, or does the source suggest a deeper, like, literal mathematical correspondence?
The sources we looked at suggest a surprisingly deep mathematical correspondence. It's not just analogy. And it doesn't stop there. We have 8 trigrams, the Bagua, basic symbols of the Book of Changes made of yin, like 0, and yang, like 1 yaos, which are basically bits.
Binary, essentially.
Right. This relates to different gua spaces, 2 years, 4 shangs, 8 guas, all the way up to 64 guas or hexagrams. And there are 2 core arrangements or theories. Theantian, or before sky, that's a binary-like order, symmetrical, mapping to a tree or cube structure. Then there's Hushian, or after sky. That's a cyclic, circular structure, often represented by family members.
Okay, stick with me here. What are the mind-bending connections then?
Okay, get this. In Hushian theory, the components of electric and magnetic fields can be mapped to the 6 offspring guas. And Maxwell's equations in a vacuum follow a Hushian pattern of derivatives. The coefficients are +1, -1, or 0. Coincidentally, those are the 3 possible spin values for bosons particles like photons, which carry the electromagnetic force.
Whoa! Okay, the math lines up with particle spin.
It appears so in this framework. And then if we look at Scientian theory, Dirac's equations, these describe fermions, fundamental particles like electrons. Dirac's equations can be expressed using 8 components, the real and imaginary parts of a quantum mechanical spinor.
A spinor. That's like a more complex vector for describing quantum spin, right?
Exactly. And these 8 components map directly to the guas in the Scientian theory arrangement. They follow a Scientian pattern, where the coefficients are always 1, which happen to be the spin values for fermions. It also suggests a direct link between this seemingly abstract spinor math and actual space-time parameters.
So if I'm getting this, You're saying the mathematical language describing fundamental particles, their literal spin, seems to be mirrored or encoded in these ancient binary patterns of the Bagua. That's not just an analogy, it's almost like an underlying code that both systems somehow tapped into.
That's precisely what the source material suggests. It's not just superficial. The mathematical structures align in a way that points to a deep underlying logic. And it gets even better. Quantum electrodynamics, QED.
The theory unifying electromagnetism and electrons.
Right. It unifies Maxwell's field, Boson photons, and Dirac's field, fermions electrons. It's one of the most successful theories in physics. Well, from this Taoist perspective, QED perfectly unifies the Hutian theory and Xiantian theory for Bagua. It's another powerful example. It truly embodies that phrase, one yin and one yang. This is said to be Tao.
That's incredible. The unification of physics mirroring the unification of these Bagua theories.
And it goes even further. Even the highly complex Einstein's equations of general relativity, describing space-time and gravity, even those can apparently be given a Gua representation. It implies that everywhere in space-time, there's this clear Gua space structure.
This is truly profound. It really makes you wonder, did ancient observers stumble upon universal truth that we're only now rediscovering with complex math? Could these mappings extend even further to the standard model of particle physics, explaining things like electroweak unification or quantum chromodynamics?
The source itself explicitly raises these very provocative questions. Could it shed light on quantum entanglement, the 3 generations of elementary particles, maybe even supersymmetry? It even speculates about the double helix structure of DNA, suggesting connections to nuclear fission and fusion as processes of Gua-space division and combination.
It's almost like the universe is fractal, repeating these fundamental yin-yang patterns at every single scale.
That's the implication, yeah. Truly stunning connections.
Absolutely stunning. Okay, let's ground ourselves again for a moment. Back to the practical yet still profound wisdom of ancient Chinese mathematics and its environmental applications. We're talking about Hui's Zijiaosuan, which translates roughly to intelligent calculation.
All right. Ancient Chinese mathematics developed independently for over 3,000 years, separate from the Greek and Babylonian traditions we usually hear about. Key contributions. The invention of the decimal system, incredibly important, and it included a concept of zero, which was revolutionary for calculation. They also developed advanced algebraic methods. You see this documented in the 9 chapters on the mathematical art, from the Han Dynasty, linear, quadratic equations, geometry.
So highly sophisticated for its time.
Absolutely. Figures like Liu He and Zhu Chongzi were pivotal. Zhu Chongzi famously calculated pi to an accuracy that wasn't beaten for over 900 years. And this knowledge had a global impact. The decimal system and zero eventually transmitted to India, the Middle East, and then to Europe.
It really laid the groundwork for modern computation, didn't it? That place value system.
Fundamentally, yes. It prefigures a lot of modern computational logic.
Okay, so from abstract numbers to real-world harmony, let's talk about feng shui. Chinese geomancy, literally wind and water.
Yeah.
This ancient art of harmonizing people with their surroundings using cosmic energy key. And you can connect qi right back to yin-yang, can't you? Emphasizing duality, balance for improved happiness, wealth, health.
Exactly. The historical roots trace back to Taoism and the Neolithic period over 3,500 years ago. There's evidence from the Banpo settlement around 4000 BC showing dwellings aligned with early feng shui principles, specifically the form branch, which incorporated yin-yang, the 5 elements, and the 4 auspicious beasts. It was about creating environments where qi could flow easily.
Almost like an early form of environmental psychology or spatial optimization.
You could certainly see it that way, yes. And it's not just ancient history that's still crucial in contemporary Chinese construction. Think about famous structures like the HSBC building in Hong Kong, that open space, the water view. Or how Hong Kong Disney apparently shifted its main gate by 12 degrees for better energy flow and success, all based on feng shui calculations.
It's fascinating how these principles persist. You know, I once heard about a big tech company. They brought in a feng shui master, not necessarily because management believed in cosmic qi per se, but because they understood the psychological impact of harmonious surroundings on productivity and well-being.
That's a great point. It shows how these ancient principles, even if reinterpreted through a modern psychological lens, continue to influence design and thinking.
Which leads to a really interesting debate, especially in the West, where feng shui is often, commercialized or sometimes dismissed as pseudoscience.
Right. And this leads to a critical question really for you, the listener. Does feng shui's effectiveness come from an actual cosmic force of qi? Or is it more about the powerful power of belief combined with pleasing and harmonious surroundings, which then helps people create their own success?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it makes me wonder, could AI help us unravel this? Could algorithms analyze architectural designs based on feng shui principles and actually quantify their impact on well-being? Or maybe even optimize spaces to enhance key flow from a purely data-driven perspective, bridging that gap?
That's a fascinating possibility, using AI to test or even refine ancient spatial principles.
Well, what an incredible deep dive this has been, seriously. We've traced threads from ancient Chinese wisdom, yin and yang, the five elements, the eight trigrams, all the way to modern AI in medicine and the fundamental equations of physics. We've seen how AI is revolutionizing TCM diagnostics and treatments.
And how concepts from Taoism might offer this surprisingly intuitive framework for understanding things like quantum electrodynamics and general relativity. It's quite something.
It really is. This deep dive reveals not just historical curiosities, right, but active, ongoing conversations happening right at the edge of our knowledge.
It truly highlights the enduring power of human observation and abstract thought across millennia. It suggests that maybe different paths can lead to remarkably similar, profound truths.
So what does this all mean for you listening now? It really raises a fundamental question, doesn't it? Are these ancient patterns just coincidental frameworks that happen to map neatly onto modern scientific discoveries? Or do they hint at a deeper underlying structure of reality that our ancestors, through very different means, actually began to perceive?
Maybe the pursuit of knowledge, whether it's through ancient texts or advanced algorithms, is always seeking the same fundamental truths about the universe.
We leave you with that thought. Perhaps the universe is speaking in a language far older and far more interconnected than we ever imagined, just waiting for us to listen maybe, with new tools and ancient ears.